Tennessee basketball has added a key transfer, another one to the program. Louisiana Tech shooting guard Amaree Abram has committed to the Vols. This comes after the Vols missed out on a couple of guys they were trying to add, most notably Rodney Rice, who would have been a Maryland transfer, but ended up committing to USC, I believe. And Rodney Rice was teammates with Jacoby Gillespie, who transferred from Maryland to Tennessee. So that was a big pickup for Tennessee. Tennessee, having added five-star forward Nate Ament last week, had success, had depth on the wing, had depth at the point, and has depth in the post. The big thing they needed was a two guard. They had no two guards in the roster right now. And so adding Rodney Rice was adding a shooting guard, was a huge deal. After missing out on on Rodney Rice, they were able to add Amaree Abram. What does he bring to Tennessee basketball? Well, let's talk about that now. We're going to play a little 4 downs. And we're going to start. Cooper Mays is going to ask you guys to hit like and subscribe. I don't have the board, but he's asking you to. And it's Cooper Mays is saying first down. Amaree Abram comes from Louisiana Tech. The backstory of Amaree Abram: played for Ole Miss in 2022-23, Georgia Tech in 2023-24, and Louisiana Tech in 2024-25. He averaged 8 points, 3.5 points, and then 12.3 points this past year. Only played 10 games at Georgia Tech in 2023-24. But the point of this is that he didn't average double figures, and he has SEC experience now, but didn't average double figures until playing at Louisiana Tech. But first, fourth school in 4 years. Is that a problem? And is it a bigger problem that he didn't average double figures at the other 2 Power 5 stops he was at? Yes, I think that's a concern. I do. I think not proving yourself at those smaller schools is a big concern. The Port Arthur, Texas kid, by the way, that's where UGK is from, if anybody wants to know. UGK, one of the greatest rap groups of all time. But if anybody wants to know, I think you got to show a little more talent at the smaller levels. I mean, I know he took at the larger levels. That doesn't mean that the value of coming from the smaller levels doesn't mean anything, but at the same time, it is reason to be concerned that he wasn't productive like this at the other 2 Power 5 stops he was at. However, second down from Cooper Mays. At Louisiana Tech, averaged double figures, 12.3 points a game, seemed to take a big leap. Can that be a positive for Tennessee? Yes, because Tennessee has already had success with 2 players who have come from smaller schools in back-to-back years and come to Tennessee and absolutely balled out. I'm obviously talking about Dalton Knecht and Chaz Lanier. This past year, Chaz Lanier averaged 18 points a game. Last year, he averaged 19 points a game, but Chaz Lanier became an All-American. I'm sorry, the year before this past year, he averaged 19 points a game, but he became an All-American at Tennessee. Was a big pickup. Before Chaz Lanier, though, Dalton Knecht was averaging 20 points per game at Northern Colorado, but the year before he averaged 20 points a game at Northern Colorado, he averages 8.5 points a game. So it's very possible Amaree Abram is just taking a giant leap, and playing under Rick Barnes is going to develop him. So I think that being at Louisiana Tech in a smaller school, given Rick Barnes' track record with these type of players, is a big advantage, and I think it's going to work for Tennessee. Third down, Cooper Mays. Amaree Abram shoots 37.3% from the three-point line, 84.8% from the free throw line, stands at 6'4", 195. Could put on a little bit of weight, but 37.3% from 3, 84.8% from the free throw line. I think that's a really good sign for Tennessee. Those are the type of numbers you want. And truth be told, I think he could fit in perfectly with Rick Barnes' system with those numbers. Efficient from 3, efficient from the free throw line. Tennessee needs more shooting. They need reliable shooting. Amaree Evans is perfect for that. I think Amaree Evans is a great pickup. Fourth down coming up. First, a quick message from Ted Russell Ford.
Like a blast from the past, the Super Dealer is back. Look to the skies, Knoxville. The Super Dealer is fighting for price, service, and the American-made. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Save up to $4,350 on a new Ford F-150 XLT, or get into a new Ford Ranger XLT with no payments for 90 days. Come see the Super Dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location.
All right, fourth down. Is Amaree Abram the next Chaz Lanier / Dalton Connect? Yes, I said / Don't hate me. Is Amaree Abram the next Chaz Lanier or Dalton Connect? This is the case of Tennessee taking a transfer from a smaller program and having him become a star at their program. All right, I'm just going to say this. No, he is not. And you have to look at their production at the smaller levels. And while I think he can be solid, Chaz Lanier and Dalton Connect were averaging 19 to 20 points a game at their other school before they got to Tennessee. They were lethal scorers. I think that Abram is a role player at Tennessee. So I think that that's the biggest deal. Tennessee's other newcomers, he's their third transfer, just so people know. Jacoby Gillespie comes from Maryland. Jalen Carey comes from Vanderbilt. So that's actually a different approach than Rick Barnes has taken in the past because he's taken transfers from Power 5 programs, although he did take Felix Okpara last year. But typically his best transfer is a transfer from a smaller school that takes a step up, i.e. just like Amaree Abram would do. But I think this year the best transfer for Tennessee is going to be Jacoby Gillespie, and he went the recruiting route with Nate Ament. Now, they also have Felix Okpara, Cade Phillips, JP Estrella getting healthy, Bishop Boswell coming back, who should develop a little more. They've got 4-star guard Amari Evans and 4-star post player Dwayne Brown and 3-star point guard Troy Henderson on the roster. With this collection of guys, my guess would be that Tennessee's starting lineup is going to be Jacoby Gillespie at point guard, Amaree Abram at shooting guard, Nate Ament at small forward. I'm going to go Felix Okpara at center, and probably just because JP Estrella's got to get fully back into rhythm, I'm going to go Jalen Carey at power forward. And then I think the backups are going to be, I think Troy Henderson's going to be like a Zakai Ziegler guys and fit right in as a backup point guard and be a beloved fan favorite. I think he's going to immediately become an effective player. Bishop Boswell will be the backup 2/3 guard. He'll kind of be the main guy to come off the bench as the scoring guard from that perspective. But I also think that Amari Evans will help out too in that role. If you were going to go 10 deep, Bishop Boswell at the 2, Amari Evans at the 3, or Amari Evans at the 2, Bishop Boswell at the 3, it doesn't really matter. And then at the 4 and the 5 in the post, I think they're going to go Cade Phillips and JP Estrella at the 5 and the 4. So that will allow them to go 10 deep. Dwayne Brown probably probably red shirts as he has to take time to develop and get a little bit better. But adding Amaree Abram really does complete the Vols roster. And the good news for them is they still may not be done. I mean, they've got a lot of talent they could be adding very soon. So I think that this team has a lot to be excited about. I've given you guys my thoughts on the issues with Tennessee basketball and Rick Barnes and them adding 5-star one and dones, but I think Amaree Abram was a good pickup. So I'm going to ask you this as a poll question. Which Tennessee basketball newcomer will have the biggest impact? And we're going to go Jacoby Gillespie. And yes, bear with me while I do this typing while we're on the show. So Jacoby Gillespie is one. Jalen Carey is another. Nate Ament is the third. And then we'll go Amaree Abram as the fourth. Those are the 4 guys. Look, I do think all 4 of them will be starting next year for Tennessee. Tennessee loses Zakai Ziegler, Chaz Lanier, Jemai Mashak. So, I mean, they're obviously losing a lot of talent. And from the front court, I think that, yes, they do return Felix Okpara, but they have to replace pretty much their whole backcourt. And then with losing Cameron Carr, they don't even return anybody except for Bishop Boswell that could be an effective player. So they had to go the transfer portal route. Oh, and they also lose Igor Milicic from the post. So they lose 4 starters. So it's not crazy that they have 4 newcomers starting for them this year. So you guys go ahead and vote on that. Which Tennessee basketball newcomer will have the biggest impact? Jacoby Gillespie, Jalen Carey, Nate Ament, and Amaree Abram.